Good morning. Well, it's morning for me. Hey there, how are you? My name is Alanda, and this is me unscripted, unfiltered, in curlers. That's what I tend to do is come over here and talk to you while I'm still in curlers. And why I'm wearing curlers, I've been doing some vintage hairstyles. So yeah, today the plan is to do kind of a Lucille Ball and stuff inspired, tongue tied something. Anyway, Lucille Ball inspired hairdo where she has kind of like this, like lots of curls up front. It's not the complete updo that you see her in I Love Lucy. It's a style that she wore before I Love Lucy when she was a bit younger, and then some of it's down too. So I'm going to try that. Yesterday, I gave a go with Dorothy braids. I think I need practice with that. Oh, and by the way, if you're looking for someone who has a beautiful aesthetic, life is just so grand. There's long flowing hair and fancy. There's fanciness, all kinds of fanciness. That's not me. That's not this. And you should probably just move on. Just don't stick around because this is me. My face isn't even washed, no makeup, curlers, and I don't have a hairnet. I did order one because I don't. Who regularly just has a hairnet laying around? I mean, I guess unless you've been doing these sets. Now, let me tell you something about these vintage style things that I see on YouTube. I have a bone to pick with it, and I'm going to get to like other topics as well. This is kind of a rambling, ranty kind of thing. These vintage styles that are like authentic pin curls. The way they're doing pin curls is not how pin curls were done on me as a girl. And as a matter of fact, I was speaking to one of my colleagues the other day, and I was telling her about it, and she started describing what her mom would do to her, and it was with bobby pins, because they're like, don't use bobby pins because it's going to crimp your hair. Well, my hair was always wet when my mom did it, and I can't twist because my hair's not down, but it would kind of like twist into like a little spiral shape, and there would be two bobby pins crisscross like this. That's what she would set my hair with, and it would be at night. I'd sleep with it, and the next day my mom would style my hair, because my mom was also a beautician, if you didn't know that. And so, yeah, I mean, I always had especially as a very young girl, all kinds of fancy do's. And for the longest time, I didn't let anybody else cut my hair or anything. She gave me perms. I mean, she did all kinds of things, and she had wigs, and I loved to play in all of that stuff. It was really cool. Mom hasn't been around for many years, and I really miss her. I wish she was here so that she could tell me how to actually do these styles authentically, because I find it hysterical that someone like in their 20s is saying that they're doing it authentically. I'm going to call that's a big line of bullshit. I mean, my mom was born in 1921. I was adopted when my mom was in her 40s. So I think my experience and what my mom did supersedes these young girls saying, this is authentic, when it's like, how are you basing this? How are you getting this to be authentic? Where is that coming from? Or are these just words you put on there so people click on it? You know what I mean? And I'm not blaming anybody on some clickbait, I mean, hey, we're all trying to get views and all that whatnot, right? So yeah. So I'm going to try that, but obviously I haven't put on any makeup or done anything because I just woke up, took the dogs outside, and oh my gosh, it's like really kind of cool outside. So I guess there was a shift, and Beta is in the Gulf. So we are expecting rain to start. And I haven't checked the news, so I don't know if Beta has turned into a hurricane, because they thought it was going to turn into a hurricane. They said, no, just tropical storm. But tropical storms, let me tell you, I lived through Tropical Storm Allison, and I've lived through many tropical storms. Sometimes tropical storms can do just as much or more damage, just depending. And this seems to be like a slow mover. Allison was a slow mover and just hovered over Houston for days. So, I'm going to have to look at that. So I'm expecting that there's going to be flooding here, and, it's just going to be a big hot mess, just where I'm at. I'm not really worried about like, oh, we're gonna have to be rescued or something from flooding because we're not in like a floodplain, flood zone, whatever the heck they call it. We're not in all of that. I feel, and we're on the second floor too, so I feel pretty confident that we're good where we are. But it's still, I mean, when that rain comes, it's pretty relentless, just that, and we're on the dirty side. That I know. And if you don't know what that means, on the dirty side, that means where you get pounded with the rain, basically. So that's what's going on with the weather here. What's the weather like where you are? Tell me. I want to know. Why am I whispering? I'm not sure. Okay. So Friday, there was a new series released on Netflix called Ratched. And, I was intrigued. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is, I mean, it's a stellar movie. Of course, Jack Nicholson is amazing in it. And I cannot remember the woman who played Nurse Ratched, Janet something, I think. And I believe she won an Oscar. Now, if my husband were awake, he has a list of every single movie he has ever watched. He has a list of all the movies that have won Oscars and what Oscars. The dude would be able to tell me, but he's asleep, so I can't ask him. Anyway, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is, it's a masterpiece of a movie. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, you really should. I mean, it's really good, and there's this tinge to creepiness and just being disturbed without it being real super in your face. Now, I saw some reviews, and some reviews are just like less than pleased with Ratched. And myself, let me tell you what I thought of it. That's kind of why I was inspired to make this little video right now, sitting here with no makeup and curlers on. I looked at it, it was like the colors are absolutely stunning. And I think there's got to be a story behind why Nurse Ratched's clothing is the color that it is in different scenes. And I mean, the costuming is gorgeous. And I'm just drawn to it of looking at that, because usually when you see her in one of her dresses, not the nurse uniforms, it's a big contrast. Even her car is this like seafoam green. All the other ones are kind of darker shades. Her stands out. So she always seems to like stand out in some way from that color. There's a huge contrast with it, but oh my gosh, it's just mesmerizing to me. And then how the score is used. And there's this score that I remember that I heard that I'm like, that sounds like Cape Fear. The bomb, 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 bomb. I probably do that terribly. But if you know Cape Fear, bomb, 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 and it's like this with a bass kind of, what is it? It's with brass or something. I don't know anything about musical instruments. Don't come at me for that. I mean, go listen to it, I guess. Anyway, does that. And so that's always, like, I feel the tension build with how the score is being used. And the camera work too, to me, it was very reminiscent of Hitchcock. I love Hitchcock. I mean, who doesn't like Hitchcock? If you don't like Hitchcock, we might need to rethink this relationship. Just saying. I mean, Oh, great. There was a little pop-up of somebody liked something on my other channel. My other channel is The Recovering Hunbot, in case you didn't know. And that's where you'll see my Dorothy braids, because yesterday I did it, and this totally got me off track when that little bink came up. Yesterday in my video, I was, I guess, reacting to a video from the Plunder Design Plunder Palooza, their annual conference, Plunder Palooza. WTF. I mean, the names of these things. Oh, to the bay. So yeah, I have my Dorothy braids on in that. And today I'm going to be filming probably another reaction to TikTok. I swear, I just torture myself with the TikTok. you know, and I torture myself with what Huns are doing over on the TikTok because they really shouldn't be doing all of this stuff. And if you don't know what I mean by Hun, Hun is what distributors who join multi-level marketing companies are called. You're a Hun because usually people say, hey, Hun, hey, girl, in messages. You become robotic because it's a copy and paste kind of a thing. So Hunbot, you sometimes hear that. And so hence my handle, like the recovering Hunbot, because I was a Hunbot with Beachbody. So yeah, there's that quick little story. Aren't you glad you asked? Oh, you didn't. I just told you. Okay. Anyway, going back to the movie, not the movie, the series. Yeah, the series. The cinematography is amazing. And what's interesting to it also is that, and I think I'd have to rewatch it and see when this happens, because there are different times when like there'll be a color overlay and like the entire scene will become red or it will become green. And I'm like, that's just real interesting because it signifies something. I'm not sure what, because I didn't pay attention to it, all that well. But there's a gate that was left open. I guess this is going to be an ongoing series. And just the performances I thought were really, really good. I could not get over the costumes and the use of color and even the hospital itself. Everything was very grand. And see, myself, I love the 40s. I love the look. Everything, you're wearing the hat, the gloves, everything matches, like the dresses. Everything is very proper, if you will. And there's this elegance to, doing your hair just so. Everything is just so. There's not a lot of like makeup. There's definitely red lipstick, lots of red lipstick or orange lipstick. There's that, but the elegance of it all is just, it's just beautiful to me. And I looked at the furniture and I'm like, oh, I admired it so much. Now, socially, there was a lot of things going on back then that, were less than stellar. I get that. But I'm just going with how, people didn't go out of the house. I mean, they wouldn't go out of the house without a look right now. And I just took the dogs outside. Everything had, more, I'm just going to say it was more proper. Everything, there was more pomp and circumstance behind it. I mean, if you were going over to a friend's home for dinner, you weren't going over there dressed as a ragamuffin and, just a pair of, scruffy pants and a t-shirt. That just didn't happen. It was everything, people, hats, gloves, all of that. Men, suits, hats. I mean, it was a different time, a different era, and things were just more formalized. And I love looking at the hairstyles. I love looking at the makeup. And what I do love about the makeup is goes back to the minimalist type stuff. Because now when you see people doing makeup, these beauty gurus and stuff, there's like, it's like everything is over the top. And I really admire how the focus is not on putting all this color, but just bringing out the natural beauty. And that's it. Not just making someone look completely different because of makeup. Is that making any kind of sense? Now, I admire when I see people use these different colors in different ways. It looks beautiful. But when I look at the photographs of stars from the 30s and 40s, there's just this elegance that's there that I feel has been lost today, So if you are looking for something to watch, I mean, I would recommend binging Ratched. I think it's an interesting story. There's probably things that, I mean, if I were a writer, I may have done differently or whatever. But overall, I just think it's kind of interesting to follow. And to me, it's just, that window into days gone by. That's interesting because certainly back then, we had not come all that far with mental health. I mean, not like today. I mean, just there are some things, but still, everything was just. It kind of also reminded me of. Did you see the movie The Shining? The Overlook Hotel and everything. I mean, the opulence and all of that. And the exterior shots too, because they're like these stucco type buildings. Obviously, it's in California. It's intended to be in California. The Overlook Hotel, I want to say that was set in Oregon. I could be wrong. It could have been was it in the Northeast because of, how they'd go to, like, go away to places for, like, in Dirty Dancing, how they went away for vacation at a place. That's what the Overlook kind of always reminded me of. I don't know if I'm making sense. Let me know if I am or not. You can tell me I'm nuts, or that you're following along with my scattered train of thought. There's that. So I just wanted you guys to know that if you're looking for something to watch, yeah, I recommend it. I think it's a fun show. It really, really is. It's especially if you enjoy camera work, cinematography, that wording again. And if you enjoy costumes, I used to want to design, costumes. And I think back because Edith Head used to always design costumes in some of the earlier movies. And I want to say in the 30s and 40s. Oh my gosh, her costuming was just divine. I can't remember when she died, maybe in the 70s. I don't remember. Anyway, I mean, it's iconic to me for all of that. Oh, here's something. So Sharon Stone is in it, and I didn't recognize her immediately. She's aged, and she's aged well, but when I saw her, she kind of looked like Jessica Lange a little bit to me, and I thought it was Jessica Lange. I was wrong. No, it was Sharon Stone, because I got into it. I was like, oh, that's Sharon Stone. Oh, and so, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts and stuff. I'm not like going deep with a deep critique into the storyline and all of that. I couldn't stop looking at it just because it's just so beautifully shot, and the costumes are just stunning. And what the nurses are wearing, the shades, I think it's the different shades of how color is used in each scene, and then the care to, like, the wallpaper or different, and the lamps. Just, I was looking at all of those details, and that is what drew me in, was looking at the details, because it kind of reminded me of, like, stuff that, like, my grandma had and things. And so it just drew me in from that level. And I feel like I'm just kind of rambling, so I'm going to wrap this up. I think tomorrow we're going to get our new patio furniture just in time for a tropical storm. Wow, that figures. And we now need to get a square table. I really wanted a round table, so I guess I'm going to have to go square. I'm not so sure how I feel about that, but I'll have to figure out the style that I want, because I don't know. Because now I'm kind of getting into this retro thing, but would the retro stuff look weird with what I have going on? I don't know. I really don't know. Anyway, have a great rest of your day. Be safe out there. Oh, I don't have it. I was going to show you. I got a sample mask for the Recovering Hunbot. It has anti-MLM on it, and then my little Hunbot thing. Because I'm like, I wanted to create some merch. No one ever buys my merch, and that's okay. It's not like I'm expecting, like, oh, people are going to run to the Recovering Hunbot and be like, oh, do you have some merch? Is there a link to merch? Oh, I want to get your merch. No, I don't expect that at all. I'm not at the 10,000 subscribers over there. You say you don't get, like, the little, merch button tab or whatever. And I'm not someone to do a lot of self-promotion of, like, do this or do that, because I'm just not, I mean, I figure if somebody is interested in something, they'll look around and they'll kind of, like, discover it on their own. I am just not someone who's going to always hold someone by the hand and lead them to something. I don't know. That's just me. Anyway, I'm going to get down the go-go. Thanks for spending time with me rambling, and, look at the Recovering Hunbot if you want to see, like, what my hairstyle is going to look like. That video will probably be released on Friday. It's usually when I release my TikToks. And the one with the Dorothy do, that will probably be released on Tuesday. Got to finish editing. Also, I have another one on a high-ranking Beachbody coach that will be released on Thursday. Finishing editing that sucker. So have an amazing day, and remember, you're beautiful and I love you. Bye.